It's a ghost. A giant ghost giant!
Let's begin! In Ghost Giant, you play as, well, a ghost giant. The game begins with you manifesting from a child's tears. This child is named Lewis, and he really is the centre of the story. You do play a big role in it though, and a physically large one too, as you tower high above him. Lewis is scared of you to begin with, and you must calm him down. This process is gradual at the beginning, which makes him an even more believable character. But even when he has become your friend, which is cemented by a secret handshake that you can do with him at any time, your presence can still make him jump from time to time. It's consistencies like this throughout the story that really immerse you in the role you're playing. Lewis has got a few troubles. Not only will you visually see what they are as he interacts with other villagers of Sandcourt, but he will often look up to you and tell you about them. As the ghost giant, you can help him in a few ways. You can poke stuff, grab stuff, and you can blow a gust of wind. Blowing in real life is acknowledged through the headset's microphone, and it's very responsive. And although your arms are ghost-like, and your hands are certainly not going for a realistic look, the movement is very realistic, due to the wrist bending when you rotate the move controllers. Your arms also extend out further the more you move your hands forward, and it really does feel spot on. The game plays out a bit like a point-and-click adventure game, apart from it not having an inventory for you to put all your items in. Instead, you pick up and place items in the world around you on one another to combine them. The challenge here really comes from actually finding the items, as some can be in quite devious places and may be hidden from view to begin with. Levers can be pulled to raise and lower houses, and they can also be rotated to turn houses around. You can even lift roofs straight off the top of houses to take a peek inside. The important objects that allow you to manipulate the actual environment usually have a gold texture on, but there is certainly hidden secrets that can only be found by poking and grabbing items that don't have a golden indicator. The game absolutely appeals to your more playful side, and you just can't help but interact with everything that you come across. You can play seated, but I wouldn't advise it. I constantly had to keep readjusting my position by holding down the options button. You can adjust your height in the game, but the fact that you have to pick up objects off the floor and also have to reach up high to grab roofs makes it impossible to find a sweet spot. It did hurt the immersion for me, but like I said, it is doable to play seated, but you're going to have a much more fluid experience whilst playing stood. Lewis is the only person in this world that can see you, but that doesn't mean you will only be helping him. Villagers go about their daily lives and often express what they need. Helping one of these will somehow have an effect on Lewis, which gets him one step closer to his goal. At one point, you have to use a crane to stack boxes on a car, thanks to the crane driver comically falling asleep, and another time you have to paint a picture to distract people on a bridge who won't let Lewis cross. How you actually get the paint is done in a very creative way, much like most of the other puzzles. Overall, there is a great variety here when it comes to the actual puzzles. Sometimes the chatter between villagers can become a bit overwhelming, as more than one voice is heard at once. Luckily, the main story points are unmissable, as the area you should be focusing on is lit up, and the background darkens quite a bit. There is actually quite long story moments here, where you're simply watching things play out. The animations are superb though, and the characters truly appear like they're engaging in conversation. The whole world certainly has an Animal Crossing feeling to it, but this world is so much more detailed. Detail is absolutely everywhere. Grass sways in the wind, citizens just randomly go about their daily lives, like a jogger in some woods, and pets roam the streets. You can see pictures hanging on walls inside houses, and even the pavements have depth, as it's not a simple concrete texture. It's made up of smaller stones. Everything really has been hand-placed in this world, and the detail is astonishing. It truly is one of the most detailed worlds you can see through your headset right now. Even the backgrounds in the distance have so much variety when it comes to the environment's placement. Even when interacting with stuff, it's the little things that really immerse you in the world even more, like a sunflower stem that bends as you pull it around, or when you poke another villager. They jump in shot, and even when you're not interacting, the animations look incredible. It feels like you're towering over a Pixar movie. Take Lewis's car for example. It doesn't simply move along the road. It twists and turns, and motion wise, it looks quite cartoony. The world really is full of charm, and even more so thanks to the voice acting being top quality. Characters' voices all sound appropriate for their personality, and emotions are constantly being expressed through them.
I fixed it!
Oh, blimey, me boy. You did it.
What? Is the crane working?
We have to start the crane.
I can't give you any more credit.
What?
I'm sorry, my dear boy, but your mother has too many unpaid bills.
You really do share Lewis's happiness and sadness.
I thought we were friends.
We are!
Friends don't lie to each other.
You do grow quite attached to him, and when he's really sad, it can be quite intense. The game also physically and visually plays with your connection with Lewis, which only further increases your bond. The game is set up in scenes. In each one, you're in a static position, but you can snap turn to see more of the world around you. Don't be put off with snap turning in this game though, as the world is laid out perfectly for each angle. If you reach your hand out too far, it will hit an invisible wall. This was a great help, as you know whereabouts in the level you should be looking for items, but it did cause some frustrating moments in the cemetery level. Here you must fish for objects, and the wall's placement is quite close. It was a bit difficult to throw the line out, and I also ran into a bug here as I couldn't drop an object from my hand, but disconnecting and reconnecting my Move controller resolved the issue. I'm sure a simple patch in the future will fix this problem. In each scene are collectibles for you to find. There's a caterpillar which must be poked, a basketball that must be found and then thrown through a hoop. This works well if the net is reasonably close to you, but the further it is away, you begin to realise that the aiming isn't the best, which creates some frustrating moments. A windmill is also hidden that must be blown to collect, and quite a few hats also make an appearance. These hats also serve as some visual fun, as you can put them on Lewis's head, and even other characters in the world. Before you exit a scene, a signpost appears that shows you how many collectibles you have found. This is great for people who like to 100% games, as it allows them to continue looking for stuff they missed, before poking the sign to move on to the next scene. It took me just over 3 hours to beat the game, but I didn't find all the collectibles, and to be honest, I doubt finding all of them will add too much more gameplay time. But getting every trophy in the game will slightly add a bit more. I can't show the game's trophies, as they haven't appeared online yet, but the game does come with a platinum. To complete the list, you will need to find every collectible and interact with objects that don't even progress the story, so the list certainly entices you to explore every nook and cranny of each scene. It's a very doable platinum, and is a great list for this type of game. Ghost Giant really does live up to the hype, and even though I knew it would be a detailed world after watching the trailers, being there is absolutely a whole different story. I honestly can't express enough how much detail there is in every location, and even interaction wise, we haven't seen this amount of variety in a PSVR game before. Don't expect an epic journey with the storyline, or an explosive ending. This game is not going for that at all. It really is all about telling a heartfelt story, and overall, it really comes across as you're simply spending a bit of time with Lewis in his normal everyday life. It absolutely feels like a children's story that has come to life in the best way possible, and it has some life lessons to teach along the way. It has both happy and sad moments, and both are as gripping as each other. VR is all about transporting us to worlds that we could only dream of, and this game does just that. Kids will absolutely love it, and adults can escape and enjoy it after a hard day at work. Simply put, this game shouldn't be missed by anyone.
Not too fast! Not too fast! Everything's so tiny! There's my house! And there's that court! Hello, house! Hello, town!
This is another game that has a boxed edition, thanks to Perk Games, and it really is gems like these that should be treasured forever. As always, if you found this review helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more PSVR content.